Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Excuse me. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, and I believe Paul Hall, although he seems to have vanished, along with a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. 3 to 5% on the enthusiasm level. Excellent stuff. Let's see how we get on with housekeeping. Any signs of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature?
Oh no.
Don't be shy. Most of the Western world think they live on a sphere. Think the horizon's physical sphere edge. Hello, Arwin. Hello, Paul. Keen as mustard. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Nope. Stationary.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
It's over there. But
That's correct.
No distance to it. It's just visual. So
Apparently.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
nope. Just reification fallacies. And just
What's
some
gravity,
stories
you
with conceptual mediums.
Perfect. Someone asked, what's gravity? It's a reification fallacy.
Okay, cool. Just an effect, no cause.
Can you hear me? I just
Yeah, we
said
heard you,
that.
Arwin. Yeah. For sure.
Just checking.
It's all good. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics? Whoops.
They never get to that part. They get their paycheck before they get to actually working on the scientific method. So they don't need to.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope. Oh, I did see a story, though, supposedly from NASA, about how the moon originally had a molten core and then how it cooled down and how they calculated that through a computer-generated model to determine how old the moon must be. Isn't that fascinating?
Fascinating.
I love cartoons. Cartoons are my favorite. I used to wake up as a kid, and then this has absolutely nothing to do with reality. Then I became it.
I'll show it. I'll present the article.
I got the same feeling, Hank, from Science at NASA is the name of the channel. And every single time they publish anything on YouTube, oh, here we go, Armin's got his article up. It would literally say, not actual representation or conceptualization and things like that. You'd have it tagged at the bottom. And every time I was left feeling so empty, because I never actually got to see anything that actually had occurred from Science at NASA. Go on, Owen, do you want to talk through this? Oh, you just have, but you've summarised it, but go ahead.
Yeah, computer model reveals Moon is 85 million years younger than previously speculated, and was home to a massive magma ocean for 200 million years. Right, and they got a picture of it too. Check it out. This is how they think
Looks
the
like
magma
the
ocean must have looked originally. Isn't that just special?
True, because they made it up themselves. Previously speculated? No. Previously told to you as fact and claimed to be science. Now,
Oh, there's-
previously speculated.
They mentioned Thea in here as well. Scientists believe the moon formed when a Mars-sized protoplanet dubbed Thea collided with Earth about 4.5 billion years ago. Yeah, it's basically that story in there. Oh, here, look, they got a model. They got a model for the moon core. That's amazing. They even know the core of the moon now. How did they figure it out?
Well, you can just make it up.
Hmm.
As long as you've got the word scientists in there, which it has, that's good enough, isn't it? This is basically science, isn't it?
Right.
No, not
It's-
right. Total nonsense.
It's
Completely made up stories.
Researchers say the moon was completely molten in its early years and remained that way until rocks eventually floated to the surface and cooled. What? The experts found 2 times found that the magma ocean was active 150 to 200 million years ago. This just speculation gone wild here.
Yeah.
With models.
It's just
Well,
completely
wait a minute,
made up
what-
stories. Completely and utterly made up, from its origin of a planet smashing into a fledgling Earth called Thea, taking away a top layer, depositing its molten iron core, and the debris forming the moon is that story that we tell here often. And it's completely made up, but yet they've got a whole narrative about the core of the moon off the back of that bullshit story. I love it.
So how did they get P waves and S waves on the moon to know?
I was waiting for that. I don't know.
They
you don't-
used
you
ham
don't-
radio signals.
don't need to phrase it as a question. Just when Arwin says it's nonsense, you just state it as a defence, Paul. So as follows: No, Arwin, P waves and S waves. End statement.
Oh, right. That was my answer yesterday, wasn't it?
No,
Yeah.
you've presented this, and I'm saying that you're saying it's not true. It's just all made up, and they couldn't possibly know what happened 200 million years ago. But no, it's now the modern way of measuring it. It's P waves and S waves.
Okay. Okay, but I still don't know what they are, though. I don't even know if you can do that over a distance from the Earth.
Yeah, we knew you didn't understand.
Damn it. Anyway, I'm just amazed by just the detail of this model. This is like the encyclopedia all over again, except now it's all about the moon. And now they got a giant just so story about all that. What's supposed to be in there, and like, the fuck?
I mean, we do it too, though. I mean, if we had some pretty pictures with the rebellious gas particles, and we just peppered it with scientists believe that, and experts have found by way of mathematics, if you change it into that sort of language, we could have our whole own narrative about the rebellious gas particles that was just as legitimate, with as much validity as this has, i.e. none.
Mhm.
Do you move on? Thank you, Arwin. Thank you,
Yeah.
Hank.
Welcome.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius? Where's chocolate?
Well, they have to
needed?
presuppose it now, or all these models would be completely useless.
Black Swan. Last but by no means least, any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container for all of those fundamentalist religious zealots who believe the sky is a vacuum.
Yes, you walk outside and you assume everything is already in a vacuum, and that the second law of thermodynamics that has been established on Earth does not apply to the Earth, and then things work out.
And also that gas goes down, go boom, boom, like helium bouncy balls.
That's just an afterthought at that point.
Yeah, that's a step too far. That's far too stupid. Sorry. I shouldn't really introduce the Thunderfoot Clown nonsense. It's just too farcical.
Don't forget, you forgot one. Time moves faster up there than it does down here. So that's what causes the gas to stay around here. That's what happens.
Yeah, at least Darwin kept it on the really is level, Paul. So but on the other hand, that is a defense.
The gas is expanding into a stasis situation and therefore not escaping into outer space?
That was top quality bullshit, Arwin. Kudos. Expanding into a status situation. That's right. They're in suspended animation in status as they reach that Kármán line. That's beautiful bullshit.
Well, that would kind of give the suggestion that Earth is the only place within the presupposed outer space where there's actually time. And then that means that outside of there, there would not be any time, at least by our experience standard. So everything would just not move. I wonder what would happen if you'd go there, if you just froze up and nothing, you wouldn't be able to move anymore.
Yeah, like in Red Dwarf. Like when he goes into status.
Right.
Yeah. And then you could have all sorts of bullshit stories that come off the back of that like they had. Like you could have a tear in the fabric of the stasis, and then that could act as a gateway / portal to a different time that the stasis pod has leaked into. Perfect. It's all kinds of nonsense.
Well, that's like relativity theory based idea that if you are in stasis and you are timeless, that mean that in that moment you touch upon all time. And then what if you could step out of that situation in another way and then still enter other times despite being in stasis because you touch upon all time because it's relative?
Yeah, well, it's interesting you should say that. Rob Naylor, one of the writers, got hold of this book written by this guy in a wheelchair called A Brief History of Time. And a lot of the concepts made their way into Red Dwarf. Isn't that amazing? That concludes the housekeeping. Back to talking about sports being rigged.
I want to respond to Sipwin in chat who says, Arwin talks more sheet than Neil deGrasse.
No, he doesn't.
You better damn well believe it.
No.
And my sheet is of a much higher quality than his.
Absolutely. Arwin's bullshit is absolutely true because he made it up himself.
That's not what I said.
That's
Just
what I'm
said
saying.
It's better quality than his.
That is better quality. You are the origin. You can defend it from the source because you made it up yourself.
That's what we call in the farming business organic.
Yeah. Root. You've got a root of that information.
And organic fed too. I'm organic fed all the way.
The primary source of this bullshit. I mean, information.
Don't need to be like that, Nathan.
I'm only joking.
I know.
Arvin, what are you complaining about? You just said you're primary fed. What do you think comes out after you eat?
I don't know. I don't tend to go to the toilet right after I ate.
This is a pleasant
Oh, you
conversation.
didn't want me to take that literally.
Let's move on. You're not getting the. You're gonna go and dirty down details.
I don't want this conversation to become regular.
Oh, I know most people won't be able to stomach it. Good one, Nathan.
You notice that a few 2015 arguments have been creeping up more and more? We discussed it yesterday a little bit.
Right.
Go on, Owen.
Maybe they're just recycling it because they need some new fiber in their diet.
Well, yeah, it seems like the fibre of the globeheads is to recycle old crap, and you're not wrong. But, you know, people making videos again about how much the geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve, is obstructing things based on the mathematics. surprises me that the arguments are getting regurgitated so quickly when most people still haven't quite comprehended that the black swan has destroyed their R value and left their model untenable.
I think they're, going back to the glory and to relive that.
I could barely make out what he said.
I couldn't make out what he said either. You broke up, Hank. Hey, Chocolate.
Yo. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Just to get you up to speed, Chocolate, we're talking about the fact that some of the old 2015 arguments, which require both the R value and a geometric physical sphere edge horizon, seem to be getting parroted again. How quickly they all get stamped out by the black swan.
Yep.
The old and busted still coming back around, huh?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
They're recycling it to get some fiber in their diet, literally, because fibers, you don't actually, you know how that works, right? In the diet, you don't actually absorb them in your intestines. So if it's recycled shit that you can't really you can't extract any nutrients from it anymore because it's all been dispelled. So it is really like recycling fibers.
Perfect. Notice how I will allow an analogy that links the digestion and fiber consumption of a human being to flat Earth. That's acceptable, Arwin.
Right.
Yeah, recycling all that shit. Not to put too fine a point on it.
It could be that they're going back to the 2015 arguments due to acid reflux.
I missed that. My wife was asking me something. Say that again.
I said it could be they're going back to 2015 arguments due to acid reflux.
Well, it does make me gag. I'll let you know that for certain.
Reflux or just amnesia.
Go, Hank. Go.
I think that.
Go on, Hank.
Like
Hank's
they
got
really
some mic
forgot
issues. Just
something
1 second,
happened
Owen.
because they were so on the loose. Kind of part of what happens with them in their minds.
Oh, it's pathetic. Just basically going la 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 to the current demolition of their model, making it untenable, and reasserting the original argument. It's like, okay, that's all right. No worries. We appreciate that it's going to take at least another 6 months before you even understand the black swan. And by then, you'll have been asserting, in the age of black swan demolition of the globe, that you can see a geometric horizon blocking things. It's like, it's just embarrassing for those of you who are asserting that you've got a geometric sphere edge horizon, when people like Planner War, because he's come up on this show, are telling us that we wouldn't expect to see the physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve, that used to block boats and buildings and was calculable with the R value. That's assumed and gives you a geometric horizon in the Earth curve maths that excludes perspective. You know, it's 2020, guys. How did you phrase it, Chocolate, on QE show yesterday? You said, it's like, come on. I can't remember how you phrased it. It was good, though. Go, Chocolate, go. Busy working. Yeah, basically, they're regurgitating the old argument.
Are you waiting for me?
Yeah, I was.
It's a little busy for me today.
On QE show yesterday, you said, they've forgotten, they're not keeping up to date, or they're not up to date with current affairs, or something like that. I can't remember how you phrased it.
They're not keeping up with the progression of events. I think that's what I said.
Perfect. Exactly. They're not keeping up with the progression of events. Events have progressed beyond you asserting that you've got a geometric physical sphere edge horizon blocking boats and buildings, fundies. My God.
By the way, you got a super chat from Reto Bill.
I did see. I was just enthusiastic about the fact that they're back to asserting old and busted, as Chocolate puts it. Kudos, boys. I really enjoyed all that made-up garbage. A lot more fun. Oh, I can't read the edge of that. Hold on, let's just make my window bigger. A lot more fun than dealing at the really is level. Thank you very much indeed, Retro Bill, for the super chat. Wow, $25. Really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, Chocolate. Try to keep up with the argument.
Oh, look. They believe in the curve again. It's really like that, isn't it? Working all that time to just make them understand exactly how things work, where their misconceptions is, where their misunderstandings is, where cognitive dissonance is. And then if they don't just walk away screaming or something or get all triggered and red herringy, then later it's like, oh, look, you have to do it all over again because they're just falling back into the original idea.
Yeah. And 10th Man showing them how. Here you go. This is how they tell you to just consider a not actual, not physical, only existing in maths horizon as the actual physical horizon that you don't have when you look at the horizon. And here's how they do it. Now, I've been laying this out for weeks. I say we. All the hard work's been done by 10th Man. But it's been made clear how the magic trick works. Now, you don't have to accept any of this. It doesn't matter. We're telling you how your rhetoric works. That's all we ever do here. Here's how your rhetoric works. Here's what horizon is. Here's the definition of it. It's your definition. It says it's geometric. You're on a bloody globe. Obviously, you assume the horizon's a spheroid. You call it Earth curve. But then we get to the Black Swan. We wouldn't expect to see the geometric horizon, is the rebuttal. It's like, yeah, prepare to eat those words when we show exactly how you have considered the geometric, non-physical, non-visible, only existing in maths horizon as a physical location that's blocking boats and buildings. Now, don't get me wrong, I agree, it's going to take them at least 6 months to get this. In the meantime, we're sitting pretty. I've got my feet up, we're all laughing about it. We're telling them to keep up to date with the flat earth debate.
Why is Discord so quiet?
Skeptical just flashed.
Hello, guys.
Go on, Skeptical.
How are you doing, Nathan?
Hey, I'm Ace.
Oh, good, mate. I'm honestly just have a confusing question, really. Because now the borders basically, when it comes to the definition of the horizon, the geometric horizon, they sort of label it. They give it multiple definitions, right? It really confuses me. That I want you to clarify it. Sometimes I've been exposed to terms like apparent horizon, effective horizon, fictitious horizon, atmospheric. What's the difference between these concepts?
Okay, well let's just start with the really is level. We only have one horizon. However, the horizon in the globe model is geometric. So that's the standpoint. We've got a single point where the sky appears to meet the ground. That addresses your second point. Apparent is redundant. All horizons are the apparent position where the sky meets the ground. That's the definition of a horizon. Well, if it's the apparent position where the sky meets the ground, you've got a certain degree of redundancy in that statement when you call it an apparent horizon. All horizons are apparent by definition. Their horizon is not apparent, cannot be seen, cannot be measured, only exists in the geometric maths. Therefore, is not a horizon. Now, also, the astronomical horizon, which is where, if you imagine a line coming out the top of your head pointing towards the sky, and then you draw from that line 90 degrees outwards at your feet, say, for the sake of argument, well, that would be described as a horizon. It isn't. It's an imaginary mathematical construct that you're drawing out from your zenith at 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a horizon either. It's an imaginary horizon. So, again, back to, we've only got one horizon. It's the position where the sky appears, or the sky appears to meet the land or sea, just to give a bit of clarity. But that line is an apparent, meaning you can see it. Apparent because it's not an actual location. The sky doesn't actually meet the sea or land. Well, there we go. We've only got one. Now, the fact that they've got loads is because their specific horizon, in their geometry, the one that they claim blocks boats and buildings, is physical. The horizon we see in reality is not physical. Therein lies the death of the globe. Their Earth curve is that horizon, because they're telling you we see Earth curve, and then they calculate how much a boat or building is blocked in whole numbers, feet or meters, and they'll ask you, why is 5 feet missing? Why is 10 feet missing? Why is half the 100-foot building missing? Well, that doesn't account for angular size, because they've turned the whole world in side view to take this effective perspective and call it Earth curve with a geometric physical horizon blocking things. And the horizon, the only singular horizon we see, is not physical. It's not an Earth curve edge. And the black swan exposes that. We demolish it as being physical, hence the rebuttal is, we don't have a physical horizon. We wouldn't expect to see it. It's only in existence in the maths. But the horizon that we do see is kind of, we just imagine it to be that. And they just declare it. In other words, they expose their fundy belief about what they expect the horizon to be, physical, when it isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. It's understandable. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah.
My pleasure.
Right, clear.
Yeah, you need a physical geometric sphere edge horizon to give you the R value, fundies. And if you're going to say it's refracted, oh, what do you know? That needs the R value that you don't have if you can't see a geometric horizon to measure it, as Al-Biruni has claimed to do just that. So it's game over, Globe. The model's untenable.
Yeah.
You don't have a physical sphere edge horizon. You don't have an R value. We do not live on a sphere. It's merely a philosophy. It was only ever a way of conceptualizing the movement of the stars. We don't stand on a spherical surface. That is a fact.
Yeah.
Kudos to 10th Man. I didn't understand that. I couldn't have given the consistency I just did if it wasn't for 10th Man doing all the research.
What?
Hank, do you want to drop out and come back in again? Because I'm not... You're flashing, but we can't hear you. You hear Hank in the Discord server? Oh, he's dropped. Hopefully he'll come back.
I can hear it.
You could hear him. I couldn't hear him. Hey, Hank.
Is this better?
Yes, we can hear you. Can everyone else in Discord hear him?
Yeah.
Good.
All right, thanks.
Go ahead.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, so what happened after the Black Swan? You know, you've completely taken away their bedrock. This is their foundation. This is their cornerstone, you know. So they have to change the definitions and come up with new words. And apparent horizon is like saying a married husband at this point. You know, it's just all these different names, and they're just obfuscating, right? That's all they can do. That's all they got left. So now the obfuscation is getting old. So they're referring back to like 2015 arguments, and they're just grasping for straws at this point. You know, this is basically the point where if they've tapped out, we're not letting go. We're still squeezing, and they're just reaching for anything: eyeballs, hair, straws, anything they can reach.
Yeah, clutching at straws. Exactly. Well put. Tapped out, and while their arm's being broken, they're going, it's blocking boats and buildings.
No horizon on a flat Earth.
That's a great one. That's worth breaking down.
You...
So because they've got a geometric sphere edge horizon that blocks things in the distance when you turn the view side on, so you can see the side of your own head, when you remove that obstruction, i.e. the hijacking of perspective, you're left with two lines, a line between you and the target and a line along the ground in orthographic view. No horizon, because their horizon only exists because of the physical obstruction of Earth curve in their model, inside view, without perspective. So like I say, just to repeat, as soon as you remove the Earth curve, that leaves them with the delusion that we wouldn't have a horizon. And the same delusion is why they ask us why we can't see New York from Portugal. Well, you can't see it because it's too small. But in their mind, you can draw on a piece of paper, man looking at Portugal, from Portugal to New York, write the word Portugal on the left, draw the side of your own head, excluding perspective, write New York on the right-hand side of the page, draw a line between the two, and say, you should see it. You know, just write a few thousand miles, whatever the distance. Well, you should see it. Look, I can draw a line. There's no horizon blocking your view. Therefore, you should see it. It's like, no, it's tiny. It's way too small. The angular resolution of New York's going to be way beyond what you're capable of seeing with anything. There's no telescope that's going to bring it back into view at those distances. So no, definitely not. But because their Muppet vision excludes perspective, they don't think you'll have a horizon when you remove Earth curve from the equation that isn't there. They haven't got one. You can't see it. But it simultaneously is the only reason you'd have a horizon anyway. And once you don't have one, because we've debunked R, suddenly they ask us, why have we got a horizon at all then? It's like, what? Yes, your Muppet worldview, your Muppet vision worldview is so ingrained that you think the horizon goes when you don't have a physical obstruction anymore. While some of your brethren are telling you we don't see the geometric horizon. It's like, well, what's giving you your horizon, mate, if your geometric horizon can't be seen? Oh, the refracted one based on the geometric horizon with its R value? That makes no sense either. This is all becoming very silly, isn't it?
Wait,
Right,
we
and
don't
it-
see the geometric horizon? I thought somebody said that he got like 2 inches of curvature off a level lake. What happened
You're
with
not
that?
letting that one go, are you?
Nope.
Right.
Yeah,
But-
shout out to the perspective denying Jesse Kozowski.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to follow up on your point too with the no horizon on the flat Earth. What that statement does is say, no, the Earth is a globe because we can see her horizon, and then they just autographic model it. You kind of did say it completely, but they say no, we have a horizon, so it must be a globe. That's really what that statement means.
Yeah.
But it's the wrong one. They used to say it was the geometric one. The one that would block.
Yeah, the one that would have some physical capabilities to it.
What?
You broke up for a second there, Choco.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in a shitty warehouse right now.
Right. But this is really more and more what the ballers are doing. Is like Chaiki is a prime example of this. Is just forcing straw men, just from their way of thinking, saying no, it must be a globe because it is exactly the way it is, and this is how it would be on our false model conception of how we imagine the flat Earth to work, and that is not the case. It doesn't work like that straw man model we conceived, so therefore it's a ball. And they do this all the time. They do this with the star rotations and all that nonsense as well. They try to do it. And now they do it with the horizon. So it's all just a religion of asserting that the Earth must be a globe because it is the way it is. And then back engineering what it would be like to them if it wasn't a globe and why that doesn't match reality. So, yeah, it is really just a religion of pure presupposition, isn't it?
Yeah, all they
Purest
can
of
do is beg the
presupposition.
question.
I found it really absurd how the ballers really twist the definitions. For instance, level to them is considered to be a curve. I mean, why? How dare you change and twist the definition when in fact the definition has to come from the external physical reality when we know level is flat, plane, straight. So by just a certain level means curve, it shows that only it comes within your mind. It's not physically, externally based knowledge. I don't understand.
They do it to fix the issues that'll make the use of circumdicular geometry more easy. Because if they don't make level into curved, then suddenly water level just completely breaks the entire setup.
Also, their priests tell them that they don't have to work on the really is level. So when they're talking in terms of presuppositional datum points, they're not working on the really is level. They're referring to a conceptualization of a model to tell them where they stand in the first instance. They're not looking at the land and saying, at the really is level, what's going on? Well, I've got a plumb line here. They're saying, no, I'm pointing out of the globe at this angle when I look at this datum. So that's not working on the really is level, and they're told by their priests that that's perfectly acceptable to not work on the really is level.
It's not the only blatant contradiction in their view of the world. Just gas pressure without a container. Like it's obvious. You can't have it. It's the same thing.
Agreed.
Well, what model do you know that works on the really is level? If I got a model Porsche, is it going to sell for several $1,000s?
A model Porsche. Well, a model Porsche is still a model of a Porsche, as opposed to you reifying the model of the Porsche into an actual full-size, full-scale working Porsche. You've still got something physical to put your hands on, though. Whereas in the case of the heliocentric model, often we don't even get shown a model. They just tell us, well, you know what it is. it's in your mind there, wired somewhere, when I say heliocentric model. But to put it another way, Paul, if you were to start asserting that you did have a Porsche, because you've got a model Porsche, and when asked about it, you described how you could drive around it, and got us to conceptualise how you would be driving around it, that kind of nonsense mind game is what they do with the globe. They tell you how to imagine. Well, that's reification. But you wouldn't do that with your model Porsche, right? You understand at the really is level, it's just a scale model of a larger car that you haven't got.
I don't know
I
about
don't
you guys,
think that
but
analogy
I like
works,
getting
to be
into my
honest,
little
does it?
model
We've gone over
Porsche and
this
going to
before.
work.
Yeah, you can't go to work in your model Porsche. An example of a reification.
What if I work at a model job?
Model job making models.
Chocolate.
I don't know, man.
Chocolate. Quit reifying your Karma Gia into a Porsche.
Yes, sir. Again, Tim.
I said quit reifying your Karma Gia into a Porsche.
Okay, so just for vacuum's benefit, we're just giving equivalent reifications. Do you know what a reification fallacy is, vacuum?
Yes.
It's not gotcha. So what's a reification fallacy?
Are you testing me now?
No, it's not. It's not a gotcha. I'm not trying to catch you out or anything. I'm just establishing if you do or don't know. You don't have to say yes. If you don't, I'll just explain it. I'm not going to say ha ha ha. It's not like that. Do you know what a reification fallacy is?
I do know what one is. So yeah, you can go right into your point.
Well, what is it? Explain to me what a reification is.
No.
How do I know that you understand what it is then?
Why would I lie to you?
I'm not suggesting you do, but based on you saying yes, I understand what a
Well,
reification is.
I'm trying to save you some time, Nathan, and get to your point.
Well, the problem with this situation, though, is that you could say, yes, I understand what a reification fallacy is, and I just accept that you do, but in fact you don't. Now, I could also just detail what a reification fallacy is, and then after I've detailed it, having said yes but not detailed it yourself, you claim that you understood it having had me detail it to you when you didn't. But you could just prove that you understand what it is by detailing it if you do know what it is.
Well, I'm not going to do that.
We'll just assume you don't know what a reification fallacy is. That's why you told us that it didn't seem like a fair example or a fair comparison.
If you really want me,
someone who doesn't understand,
really want me to.
Someone who doesn't understand what a reification fallacy is would say, as you did, that it's not a fair comparison to compare the reification of a model car into a full-size actual car and a model globe into a full-size actual globe. It is absolutely comparable, but I would only assume that someone who does not understand what a reification fallacy is would state such utter horseshit, like you did. Now, because you don't understand what a reification fallacy is, have claimed you do because you're a liar, and can't detail what one is, demonstrated by your claim that they weren't comparable, which they are as reification fallacies, it makes you a lying scumbag who's just pretending to know what this fallacy means, and just a liar, probably Googling it right as we speak. Ultimately speaking, you don't know, or you wouldn't have asked or declared that they're not comparable.
I can't believe you don't believe me that I know what a reification is.
Dumbo, Don't you understand while you chuckle and snigger that you're getting told off for your lies and your demonstrated stupidity?
From a
Chuckle away, stupid boy.
You don't.
Chuckle away, moron. You're getting told off, moron. Chuckle away and
is.
talk through me, showing your lack of humility. You do not understand what a reification fallacy is, you stupid moron. That's why you are being told off by a flat earther, and your only defence to this is to talk through me and chuckle away like a stupid schoolboy. Now, stupid schoolboy, you wouldn't have declared they weren't comparable if you understood what this fallacy was. You do not. And you lied, claimed you did. You'd have detailed what it was if you did. You're just a lying scumbag. Now getting told off by a flat earther. That's what's happening. So, vacuum, try not to pipe up and claim that things aren't comparable when you don't understand what the fallacy be detailed is. Just shut up. Don't display your ignorance and have to get told off by a flat earther for not understanding what's being talked about. That's what's happened. You, the stupid idiot who opened his mouth and tried to look smart, claiming they weren't comparable, was shown to be stupid by a flat earther. By highlighting the fact that they were absolutely comparable reification fallacies, you just didn't know what that meant, you stupid moron. Now sit down, shut up.
Do you feel better?
Shut up,
Nathan?
you stupid moron. Do I need to sit you in the corner with a dunce hat on so you appreciate how stupid you have been?
I think you need a timeout.
I
Nathan.
think you need to sit in the corner with a dunce hat on. You don't know what a reification
Nathan,
fallacy is. Now shut up.
Okay. Nathan,
Okay, shut up.
Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't mean continually affirm that you're going to shut up by not shutting up saying okay, you stupid moron. You don't seem to understand what shut up, you stupid moron actually means. It means I've taken the time to explain how stupid you are to a live audience. Now you're going to accept that you're stupid and don't know what reification is. You've interjected so that you seemed smart, but actually you're thick. Now, thicko, you're going to butt out of this conversation, you stupid retard. Sit in the corner with your dunce hat on and not offer any more of your stupidity while us smarter people talk about reification, something you don't understand and refuse to have explained because you're an arrogant prick who thinks he's smarter than he is. And rather than accept your own stupidity, having some humility and saying, actually, no, I don't know what reification is, you said yes, you stupid twat. You don't know what reification is. You're just a liar with no humility. And rather than saying, actually, no, I don't know what this word means, you said, yeah, I do, but I'm not going to actually explain it. You can move on with your point. You can stutter, you stupid bitch. Stutter for me. You're getting a verbal whipping from a flat earther for your lies and stupidity that have been highlighted 3 times. Now, I've given you the option and then taken it away. Now I'm demanding you sit down like the stupid dunce you are and stop interjecting with your stupidity, globehead retard.
I do know.
You stutter for me, bitch. Yeah? Sit in that corner, stutter, and if you keep talking, I'll take it to the point where you start crying. Okay? You stuttering buffoon. Shut up.
But I do know what a reification.
Yeah, you're going to get muted because all he's doing is literally rumpusing the Discord with his stuttering. Wanker! You're all thick like this guy. You think that you've got something to offer. You think you've got your intelligence with your gas bouncy balls and your second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to the Earth and your gas pressure without a container in 2 pipes. You think you're so smart. But when it comes down to it and we actually ask you to explain what a word like reification actually means, we get the stuttering, stammering buffoonery like we get from this retard. Now, it doesn't matter how much we tell them off for their stupidity. It doesn't matter how much we point out their stupidity. It doesn't matter how much we detail to them how stupid they have been. They still think that they need to stand on top of a table and cause disruption, when in reality they need to grow a pair, sit their ass down and accept their own stupidity. They can't. They don't have humility. Well, wasn't that fun?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was hoping you heard him interject and say it was a misused analogy. If you had heard him or not, but yeah.
His original interjection with his abject stupidity was to say that it's not fair to compare the reification fallacy that is globe Earth to the reification potential of a model of a car with a real car. They're absolutely comparable if you reify you having a Porsche when you've only got a scale model, and you talk about driving around it and ask your opponent to conceptualize you in a real Porsche. That's reification. Just like imagining that you're stood on a spherical surface when that's a model. Absolutely comparable. He just didn't know what the word meant and said, yeah, I know, but don't challenge me to actually define it. The fallacy of misplaced concretedness, mistaking something that is an abstract idea for something that is real. Now, I didn't need to look it up. I know what it means. Just surrounded by liars. Anywho, so the globe is a model, and if you want to treat that model as a reality, then you are guilty of a fallacy called reification, mistaking the map for the terrain. I do live these uncomfortable silences.
Where did they go?
Yeah, where is everybody?
Oh, I kicked him out. He was just stuttering, going, I, through the Discord server, so no one could hear anything.
A comfortable food. There's no curvature. I'm good.
Me too, I've got my feet up. Some shuffling on Discord, take a few people off mute. Hello, newbies in Discord, Dan and Mole Man.
Yep, sorry, can't speak. It just came to a barbecue.
Heading to a barbecue. Lovely.
Yeah.
To listen to him.
Shout out to Cleary. Says the earth really is level. Right on.
But level to a baller is curves.
Yeah, if you reify the model before you do anything.
Until they have their house built, and then they snap to the really is level. I mean,
Pick up.
You know, if their foundation wasn't level.
Hank is just really quiet. Certainly had a funny pace to it today, this show.
Yeah, it's not like it's the only one. Since the Black Swan, I've noticed a few like this. I mean, initially they came in trying to debunk it. Initially they came in trying to debunk it, and they all got wiped out. It's just the very thing that they told us.
They ended up debunking themselves.
Yeah, because it's the very thing
Right.
that they said blocked the bottom of things. Now they can't say it anymore.
Yeah, because they voluntarily chose to say, we don't see it. Huh? you don't see the thing you told us you've been seeing for 5 years? That's weird.
Shout out to Unitox Femi, who says, any book studies of reflection of horizon. Thank you for the super chat.
You know what's interesting is everyone knows as you get further away from something, the resolution, the angular resolution kicks in, compression, all that stuff, vanishing point. Artists know this when they're in school learning about perspective. But everybody knows that the closer you get to a mountain, the bigger it looks. The further you're away, it's lower than the telephone pole right in front of you. How in the world do they not get this?
Because in their maths, as they move that mountain to the further right-hand edges of the page, they'll ask you how the feet and inches value has been obscured. In other words, it doesn't matter if you're right next to the mountain or the mountain's 1,000 miles away, it'll always be a 1,000-foot mountain, and they'll be asking you how 150 feet of the 1,000-foot mountain's missing, even though, as you put it, it's got smaller with distance. The angular relationship has changed, but that's excluded when you put it side on in Muppet Vision. Same reason they think there'd be no horizon if you got rid of their presupposition that you've got a physical edge blocking things in the distance.
So, can you hear
Hey,
me?
Brian.
Yeah.
Go,
Hey,
Hank.
Nathan. Hey,
Go,
everyone.
Hank. Go, Hank. Go.
Just wanted to say that when you tell this to a normal person, they do get it, but you're not dealing with.
Oh,
normal
you're just
people.
too quiet.
Yeah, these aren't normal people. They're just, religious zealots, like you say, or fundamentalists. Because when you tell a normal person, you don't have to be an.
Isn't it that he's 70 dB down? I can't hear him.
Hank, did you get trapped at the bottom of Aristophanes' well?
At least you got the rhetoric right, Chocolate.
Yeah. Can never tell, right? Is it sticks in the ground, shadows from a well? I mean, we're Scooby Doo. I mean, it might as well be whatever the hell, man. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, his own shadow, it's nonsense.
His own shadow.
Yeah.
Moon shadow.
Yeah, exactly. Moon shadow.
The moon shadow that's from a selenium or something, that where the shadows being refracted, which is what I'm hearing now. Shadows can be refracted. How do you refract the absence of light?
What was the
What?
communications like back then? Was the cell phone coverage pretty good back then? How did they communicate?
Exactly.
No, they used pigeons back then. And that was pretty
carrier
reliable.
pigeons.
But it does take days.
But did the pigeons correct for the Coriolis?
Did they
Right,
seem
they
like they
fly
were
level,
drifting from
so
the
that
ground,
means
those
curve.
pigeons?
But when I was on Jose's and George Netchuk, and then Jesse Kozlowski came in after my presentation the other day, the main argument that they had, especially Jesse Kozlowski, was that latitude and longitude is older than Cartesian coordinates. So that proves the globe. But latitude and longitude, I didn't get a chance to speak, but because Jose wouldn't leave me, but latitude and longitude is supposed to have been derived by Aristophanes, okay? But there's also a guy called Hipparchus who's supposed to have done it about 200 years later, or maybe just improved on Aristophanes. But the problem they have is the oldest known globe is from 1492, right? Whereas Aristophanes and Hipparchus are from BC times. So it's like the stories aren't matching because latitude and longitude is based on a particular radius value, and the radius value itself didn't supposedly turn up until the 11th century. So there's a bit of a mixed up story, really, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the whole lot is convoluted nonsense. But they just pick and choose which parts of the story and which timelines might best suit an argument. It's all just stories though, right? This is just a story about a dude and a claim that utilises a presupposition. Well, you can pick apart the actual claim being made within the story. The actual... Yeah, it's interesting to even claim that the guy was even real. It's like, let's see all the primary source information that he was even in existence. But does that really defeat his argument? Who cares? Just pull apart the claim that he's supposed to have been making.
Yeah, there's stories of the first thing I like. The one of the main things that were like arguments against all that is like, well, show me all the Greek globes then. If it's from back in those times and the globes from before that, there isn't any. It's all stories. Exactly, it's just little stories. Even 1492 is suspect because The oldest known globe was supposedly from 1492. When I looked at that in 2016, do you remember the footballs from the World War kind of II era, where they were like these leather, dark brown tan leather things that were stitched together?
I do.
Well, the soccer balls, for the Americans on the panel, they were. The globe looked like one of those. This one in 2016 that had some patchwork on it. Like thin leather kind of stitched onto it that looked like America, and there's another thing that kind of looked like Europe and Africa and all this. Then, if you look at it now, it's a very intricate looking, fantastic looking thing that would be probably look like an antique, super antique globe that would be worth, phenomenal cash made by some expert cartographer. But they still claimed in both times that it was claimed in 2016 and it's claimed now it was done by this German cartographer. When I looked in 2016, there was some information there wasn't a whole lot. Now there's loads of information about this guy, and it's a fantastic looking thing. It's like it doesn't matter. You're trying to claim it came from 1492. Also Columbus supposedly discovered the Americas in 1492. We know that's a lie. So your globe is very likely another 1492 lie, you know what I mean?
Right. Did you see the video of the Mapper Monday at Hereford Cathedral?
Yeah, you did a thing on that, didn't you? Before it was from you, I think I saw that originally, or maybe I saw it before that. I'm not sure, but I remember you pointing that out.
Well, it was just very, very early days, and Martin Leaker pointed out, Mappy Martin, back before he was Flat Earth British, was like, yeah, there's a Flat Earth map. It's hanging up in Hereford Cathedral. Do you want to go? I was like, yeah, I'll arrange it as a meetup. So I did all the publicity, obviously let everybody know when it was going to be, and effectively sent out invites. And then, it was great. One person arrived. One dude. And me and Martin, and my wife, who was pregnant. And we wandered around and had a look at Hereford Cathedral, and then went in and had a look at the map on Monday. But it's a Flat Earth map. It's on a cowhide stretched out on the wall. It's massive. Great big thing. Very funky. I've got video on it.
What year is it from?
Well, that would be a different question. What do they claim it's from? Is it authentic? Etc, etc, etc. All the details of what it's claimed to be and how old it's claimed to be are all in that video. I can't remember off the top of my head, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I'll have a look later on. At that. Because I'm interested to see what year that's claimed to be. Because if you look at people like Eratosthenes and people like, what's his name, Galileo, there's so many things attributed to these people that just kind of happen to fall into their timeline. But when you look into the details of it, it's obviously, it's obvious that that all these things couldn't have taken place at that point because there's too much contradicting evidence from 30, 40 years beforehand, 200 years afterwards, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole bunch of contradictory timelines. I can't agree more. With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you. Smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panel for making today's live show possible. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a day! What a lovely day!